Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Boys News. Today it is the 24th of February. The time it is 12:16 in the evening of the year 2026. Uh, from Giving you guys a live update from the city of Tijuana. Today, still, let me go day by day. As the level of violence and the wave of violence has been increasing due to the execution of El Mencho, leader of Del Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación. As you guys have seen our coverage in different areas like the platforms of X and also Real America's Boys News. We have been covering the ongoing narco blockades and the burning of vehicles in the city of Tijuana. It escalated to the city of Tijuana on Saturday. On Sunday, there was, there was three vehicles more that they were burned. The most aggravating thing about this that I can tell you, it is that some of the vehicles that were burning really close to the border wall. The one that I recorded is the one that is more aggravating. It was burning in front of a camera post that it was on the territory of the United States of America. And ultimately, when you see the cartel burning a vehicle in front of the camera on the other side of the wall in the American territory, it tells you the boldness and it tells you the audacity of the organized crime to say, I'm burning it in front of you. These cameras, they're located on post on the United States side by the Border Patrol as intelligence to gather all the perimeter of possible smugglers and possible traffickers working on that particular area. These were relentless, being burned on the whole side of the city. In regards to the informative report of the government of Baja California, more than 22 incidents were recorded until Saturday. And you got three more vehicles that they were reported on Sunday, that makes it around 25. Why they called incidents? I need everybody to understand when they called incidents is because they were burning not only vehicles but businesses, which tells you that the cartel and the organized crime was only burning businesses as a fracture and as a sign of desperation, also as a sign of a relentless, radical, mercenary attitude to say we are present on these kind of locations. And also, not only that, as a sign to say we are still going to terrorize the population if we want to. After that, yesterday, two narco banners were appeared in public schools right here as a message also by the organized crime to the population. And a body was found right here in the city of Tijuana. What has happened in the parts of Puerto Vallarta, parts of Jalisco and Michoacan? The narco blockades were strong and they were heavy. And they were extremely heavy. Why? Because that was the territory that this criminal organization, the CJNG, had a lot of presence. We cannot start speculating and disinforming the people of who is in charge of this criminal organization now. That will be completely irresponsible, inhuman, unethical, and ultimately, at the end of the day, will be completely disinforming and creating an idea to the Mexican population that somebody already is in charge of the criminal organization. We do not know that. We informed to the population that, and to our network, and ultimately to our audience, that there was going to be some internal turmoil on this criminal organization because everybody wants to have the charge of the CJNG, whoever are the head of the snakes. And ultimately, at the end of the day, there are people that they're in charge of several sectors of the territories, as Michoacán, Guerrero, Jalisco, Colima, Nayarit. And now you see that they have a lot of power and a lot of presence in one of the most visited borders in the world, that is Tijuana. That is one of the most transit borders in the world to the part of San Diego, California. We cannot be informing and disinforming about there is this speculation of the nephew of El Mencho that he is now in charge. There's a guy by the name of a nickname of El Jogurt that he's in charge because he made a video. We have seen multiple videos of these criminal organizations, how they have made them. And with a military attire, covering their faces, threatening the population and threatening several sections of every state. But a thing that is curious and a thing that it needs to be pointed out, it is that Nemesio Ceguera, better known as El Mencho, it was not a leader like of a criminal organization like El Chapo or El Mayo, or the one that it was in charge, El Zeta 40 of Los Zetas. This guy, you never seen him doing videos without his face uncovered. You heard some audios of him publicly on radios threatening the police officers and threatening levels of government, but you never seen him publicly. So what makes you think that there's already somebody in charge? If the one that it was the leader of this criminal organization, you never seen him on TV, you never seen him on videos, you never seen him on an operation, on a mode operandi. We have only heard, it was him on these filtered audios threatening police officers, threatening the population, and threatening several individuals who they were filtered in these kind of operations that he was leading, attacking, or taking control of several territories. But we never saw him. So what makes you think that they already assigned somebody to this criminal organization? It will be threatening the life of Mexican citizens, informing this, completely creating an idea of fear for the population of Mexico to say, here we go. We have somebody now that is in charge. We need to be responsible with this level of information and be respectful to the federal government of our country. And why I say that with the most responsible honor, because we lost 25 soldiers on this mission by the federal government that they executed to extract Nemesio Ceguera El Mencho. 25 soldiers that their lives were lost on the effort to execute El Mencho and to extract El Mencho. So we need to be respectful. The federal government is trying to use the force of the state, send a message to the criminal organizations of that they're located in our country of Mexico. And we need to understand that they're trying to do the best that they can. Late, yes. Until something happens, they will do it. Yes. Whatever the consequence that your optic and your opinion it is, at the end of the day, they're doing something about it. And they're doing something about it. Why? Let's be honest. The pressure of the American government over the Mexican government, it is like no other in history. There has never been no such pressure by a United States president into a Mexican president like it is right now. The extraction of information by the American government over the Mexican government over corrupt politicians, it is enormous. The Department of Treasury has exposed more than 50 dirty politicians working in Mexico. Because of the enormous pressure, the Mexican government now has dismantled more than 1,200 laboratories, has arrested more than 20,000 agitators. These 20,000 agitators dedicated to create violence in our country of Mexico, has dismantled companies that they were signalized by the Department of Treasury that these companies were giving out illegal precursors and substances to the organized crime in the cartel in Sinaloa, to the Chapitos and Los Mayos, the fractions of these cartels, close these 12 companies, expose the leaders of these 12 companies that were actually advocating and giving out illegal substances to the cartels. Not only that, they have extracted and delivered the Mexican government, illicitly, illegally, however you want to call it, to the United States of America, giving out leaders of criminal cells and cartels for them to be examined, one, extract of information, two, three, know the mode operandi of them. And now the American government has something that nobody else in history has ever had. You have the three leaders of criminal cells and kingpins in the whole continent and possibly in the whole world. El Chapo Guzmán, El Mayo Zambada, and Nicolás Maduro. The three. You have them in your power. So the level of extraction of information that the United States has over the mode operandi of these criminal organizations inside of Mexico, it is enormous. So what makes you think that there's already somebody in charge of these criminal organizations if you don't even know what is going on in Venezuela with the extraction of Nicolás Maduro? The son of Nicolás Maduro is still free. Diosdado Cabello is still there, is not being extracted. Jorge Rodriguez, another relentless mercenary, is still there. Still, you have the fractions of Los Chapitos operating. Still, you have the fractions of Los Mayos operating. What makes you think that somebody is already, in hours of this execution, is already in charge? It's clearly a disinformation, of a distraction. For some to just have likes, clicks, and views, and be trending on social media and be relevant. For others to harm and to disinform. There's fake videos that they have been posted on social media with the intention to harm and to have a legitimate justification for a foreign military to intervene in our country of Mexico. We need to be more responsible with the information. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we need to understand that the military of Mexico has already said this mission could not be completed and conducted without the help and the collaboration of the intelligence of the United States of America. It tells you that the power of extraction of technology and information by the United States is enormous. And I just told you why. It is obvious that nobody in history, in the United States history, has ever had this level of extraction of information because you have the three leaders of these criminal organizations that they're heavily involved on destabilizing the peace in their countries, providing the legal precursors around the whole continent and the world. You have Nicolás Maduro. You have the Chapo Guzmán. And you have El Mayo Zambada. It tells you that. Now, it will be a complete disrespect to assume and speculate that somebody else led this operation when you have 25 military men from Mexico that they died. If this operation was led by an external military men, these 25 men of the military of Mexico will be still alive. What tells you that when you lose men, it is because that organization or that military branch was the one that led the operation for the execution of this mission. There has been several comments that I will not call them incompetent comments. I think that I will call them with a low intellectual coefficient of knowledge, saying this is a circus. It is the Epstein files. What do you got to say about that, Oscar? It will be a complete irresponsibility and disrespect to our people in Mexico and to the 25 soldiers that they have been lost to mix that topic into this particular circumstance right now. We know what is happening over here because we are on the floor and on the ground. And we're informing currently what is happening on the floor and on the ground. Yesterday, after the thousands of military men that they have been deployed to the port of Vallarta, that in Vallarta, it is a place, Puerto Vallarta, let me say it like Americans say it, Puerto Vallarta, so you guys can understand. In this particular place, you see thousands of Americans that they vacation. A lot of them, they live there. And if a lot of them live there, they were concerned for their safety, if they will be able to get out, if they will be able to come back. The airport in Puerto Vallarta was shut down for some hours. Now it is open. The airport in Guadalajara, it is open, which tells you that the federal government has the control of the security. Connections that we have on the ground in Puerto Vallarta have told us that there is a huge deployment of soldiers walking in the ground on the resort areas, which tells you that the number one priority for the federal government, it is for these thousands of soldiers that they have been deployed on areas that they were creating these narco blockades. It is to provide the security of Mexicans, but also to provide the security for the American citizens that they're located there. It tells you that you have an economy of tourism on these particular areas and that they need to provide and bring back the life to normal. But also, we have a world event coming up in June, and it is the World Cup. The World Cup, it is being hosted in one of the most dangerous states, where it is the state that has that has more missing people in the whole country, and it is Jalisco. Just 1 kilometer away, or a few kilometers away, or a few distance away from the Akron Stadium, these collective groups that they dedicate themselves, these family members, to search for their family members that they have been abducted, extracted, or kidnapped by the organized crime. Just kilometers away from the Akron Stadium, they have found more than 456 bags of human remains buried in clandestine mass graves. It tells you the level of violence that is happening right now in these particular locations. And what they're trying to do is to send a message to the whole world that we have the security and that everything is under control. This is why this continuous deployment. This is why they're sending a message to the world to say, we have this under control. Nothing, it is going to be escalating. Nothing, it is going to be happening. We're going to have it under control. What will happen next? Mexicans, after what we saw, the execution of this bad guy, I will tell you, as a Mexican, it is a proud moment, because we, and I have said this before, there's no need for a foreign military to intervene in our country. We need collaboration and we need help. Yes, we need. But we knew that our military men are brave, and without corruption, they are 1,000% ready for an execution, and they are well prepared to take over and to take action against these criminal organizations. I have said that multiple times, and it was demonstrated. Although we lost good men, that they died for the flag and they died for our country, it was demonstrated that the Mexican army, it is willing to die for their men, and it is willing to die for their country. And that these kind of missions, they're willing to execute. Ultimately, at the end of the day, providing intelligence by the American government and help and in cahoots to eliminate and eradicate these criminal organizations. It is important for us to understand that after this, everything can be possible. And the demand of Mexicans now, it is going to be completely different. Our world can completely change. The demand now from the Mexican citizens to tell the government, it is, why don't you go after them? We know that you can do it. We know that you're capable of doing it. And we know that you can accomplish the mission. 103 infantrymen arrived today to the port of Puerto Vallarta in a Navy vessel. A lot of people mocking on social media saying 103 for thousands. That is a joke. completely disinforming what is happening right now. There's already thousands on the floor. These are infantrymen arriving with vehicles and tactical vehicles to patrol the area of Puerto Vallarta and to secure and to assure that there will not be no attacks to American tourists and to American citizens, priority Mexican citizens, or citizens alone. This is the video of the 103 infantrymen arriving into the port of Puerto Vallarta. Now, let's go by the informative report that it was given out by the defense minister, that, as you see right here, he sobs and reveals that 25 National Guard members were killed in Jalisco. And there's some questions, and I will answer that question. You think that cartels might start burning automobiles in the part of San Isidro port of entry? That happened back when the Sinaloa cartel fractioned started also the riots, and they were more aggressive. This is not the first time. Let me emphasize on that, and let me emphasize on that question before I go into more detail. This is not the first time that it has happened in Tijuana of the burning of automobiles. This happened when there was an incident with the fraction of the Sinaloa cartel, but on that time, they were extremely more aggressive. Why? Because the Sinaloa cartel was creating these narco blockades, but also they were stopping average civil citizens, getting them out of the automobiles, hurting them, and threatening them that they were going to take away their lives, and also taking away their vehicles and burning their vehicles. A lot of incidents happened like that. And it calmed down after a weekend that it was extremely agitated. This was completely different. There was no incidents with people that they were getting out of their automobiles and being extracted or kidnapped. These automobiles were from the organized crime and the cartel. We know that the CJNG has a lot of presence on the other side of the border. And why they have a lot of presence on the other side of the border? Let's just keep it honest. Under the 4 years of the Biden administration, with its open border policies, the Cartel Jalisco new generation grew 2 times stronger on technology, territory, land, financially, and technology with equipment. They grew so much, and they invested. You see the viral videos that they happened under the Biden administration with these Mad Max vehicles and this technology of drones that they acquire. We need to understand that the majority of this technology, it is not a speculation. It is already more than 80% confirmed that a lot of this weaponry and artillery was coming from the ports of Arizona and Texas into the hands of the organized crime and the cartel. Which tells you why the cartel at this particular moment it is acting so passive. It has already been controlled. Do they are afraid of the consequences that it can happen? After they show no remorse and they show the force of the state by the federal government to extract El Mencho? Or are they passively waiting for something to do in the further line, down the line? This is why the federal government has been deployed ultimately to the whole areas that these narco blockades have been creating. But we have to signalize and we have to say this. This is why when I was standing in front of this vehicle that it was burning in front of the border wall, I said, and I will say it again, this is a national security issue. not only for Mexico, but for the United States of America. We have seen in the past days how the organized crime and the cartel has been flying drones over the part of Juarez and El Paso. That has happened before. It's not the first time. But not only that, will we see that the organized crime has the boldness and the audacity to start doing attacks on the other side of the border wall? We do not know. That will create an instability and a huge infraction and a justification for a foreign military to enter. This is why the federal government has acted with force, because they do not want that to happen and that to escalate. We have now the defense minister who sobs and reveals 25 National Guardsmen were killed in Jalisco.
Aprovecho primero para dar el pésame a las familias de nuestros compañeros que perdieron la vida también, y un reconocimiento a nuestro personal militar que realizó una operación exitosa. Se puede ver desde muchas ópticas, pero es definitivo que cumplieron su misión. ¿Y qué es lo que se demostró? La fortaleza del Estado mexicano. De eso no hay duda. Gracias.
He says, what do we demonstrate? The force of the state. With those powerful words, and I will direct this to the Minister of Defense. We have been waiting for you on this past year so you can come out and say with those same powerful words that you have demonstrated the force of the state to all the clandestine mass graves, to all the hundreds and thousands of missing people that they have been buried unjustly in all the parts of the country, to the more than 300,000 innocent lives that they have been taken away from the organized crime and the cartel, to the multiple people that they have been abducted, missing, bodies that they have been dismembered, bodies that they have been decapitated. We have been waiting for you to solve this way, also for the innocent lives of Mexican people. We understand your sentiment, because these 25 men, they were your men under your command, executing a mission that they gave their lives for our country. But we also need to understand that there's more than 300,000 families in our country of Mexico who they solve today because of their family members that they were taken away by the organized crime and the cartel. The extermination camp that it was found in Jalisco. These were innocent men, innocent women, children, who they were killed by the organized crime and the cartel. Thousands of missing people every day. Hundreds of thousands that they march every day to say, I do not have my son. I do not have my daughter in my house. We're still missing them. Please recover them. We don't need to sob. We need action. We need immediate action to take over. Like the action that you demonstrated, possibly with different optics and different critiques, that the mission was not executed perfectly because you lost 25 men. That the National Guardsmen were asking for help because they were getting ambushed by the CJNG cartel. That the mission was not executed perfectly because they were being ambushed and they were asking for help. And the help was not arriving perfectly and then on time. And we understand that you're sobbing right now and you're sad. But I need you to understand, there's hundreds of thousands of Mexican families that they're sobbing because their family members are not back home, that they were extracted, that they were kidnapped, bodies that they have been dismantled and dismembered. Extraction of women, recruitment of minors in public schools and elementaries and junior high schools and high schools. Towns that they have been taken over by the organized crime and the cartel. Farmers that they have been displaced by their land in Guerrero. We understand your sentiment. And possibly now you feel what hundreds of thousands of Mexican families feel today. And I will say this, that sadly it happens in our country. Hasta que no pasa, hacemos algo. Until it happens, we do something about it. And until you're sobbing, the Minister of Defense, and until you're hurting, sir, you slightly understand a minimum of sentiment of the hundreds of thousands of families in Mexico that they have been suffering for many, many years. For many, many years. The only thing that I could say, and that I'm assuring to say, it is that from now on, the Mexican people know that these missions can be executed and that something can be done. From now on, the demand for the Mexican government is going to be in high expectations. You cannot show no remorse to no leader of a criminal organization now. You cannot show no remorse to a criminal organization, to a cartel, because you executed a mission where 25 of your men died. You have to honor that from now on. And you have to demonstrate to your people that you actually can execute these missions and bring peace to the citizens, like you're doing right now in Vallarta. Like you are assuring yourself in the perimeters where El Mencho used to patrol and used to be around and terrorizing the citizens. You're sobbing today in front of a camera and in front of the world because you lost 25 of your men. And guess what? Mexico has lost 300 and more thousand Mexicans, innocent people. You should be sobbing from years and years back. This problem should have been fixed from a long time. But until we as Mexicans, until we get hurt, we understand the pain. This is you. Until a little piece of the puzzle has been taken away, you don't walk exactly the same. You walk limping. And this is happening to you, Mr. Minister of Defense. Today, you sob in front of the cameras and you're showing remorse and you're showing a weakness. That when you get hurt, there is a possibility that you will act differently. And this is what we don't have to show them. No remorse at all. No remorse. And not only no remorse and no pain, we don't have to show them no weakness at all. And we understand your feeling. Believe me, the thousands of families that they haven't seen their family members for so many years, if they can stand on that podium and explain to you their pain, we understand. But today, it is a new initiation, a possible new initiation of our country. We have to be responsible with informing the population correctly. They have invited me to several networks to do hits with them. And the narrative, it is completely different. And I'm saying no. Because we need to be responsible with what we are informing right now to our people in Mexico. There's a lot of people watching. We cannot be creating fear. We cannot be implementing fear in our country. It is a time for courage right now. It is a time for us to say it can be done. It is a time for us to say it can be done. It is not a time for us to go on conspiracies. It is not a time for us to go on assumptions. No. It is a time for us to demand what we deserve and what we have been deserving for many years. Since our existence, there has been corruption. Since our existence, there has been not only corruption, but failure of a state. Every time demonstrating and assuming that Mexico is a failed state and putting Mexicans down that they don't fight for their country and putting Mexicans down that they are cowards for not fighting their country. We don't have a Second Amendment like America has. And if we have it, there's 1,001,000,000 ways to not go in there and exercise our amendment. It is completely different. It is a different world that we're living. This is a bilateral problem. And we need to understand. And from now on, we have a gigantic possibility of change. We don't need more leaders. We need more action. And we need results. This shows me a lot of conspiracies have been going around. He died on the helicopter on his way to Mexico City. That they kill, if they kill him, if they assassinated him, because he knew the level of extraction of information and the corruption that it was existing in that political party. That is certainly this political party. It is extremely corrupted and managed by the organized crime. A clear example was the mayor of Tequila, Jalisco, that he was arrested under the claims of extortion and kidnapping, and he was linked to El Mencho and del Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación. Of course, there's corruption. And there's this conspiracy. If he died in the helicopter, that he died or somebody took away his life because of the level of extraction of information. How he paid off, and the speculation and the conspiracy that he paid off a lot of these politicians. To use the word conspiracy with this, it will be assuming that is a lie. But we know that it's not a lie. We know that it's possibility, and there's 100 to 80 to 100% reality that he was paying off a lot of these officials. Is that a lie? No, it's not. And I will tell you why not. El Mayo, in his statements in the court of New York, said, I paid off police officers, commanders, lieutenants, military men, mayors, governors, high-rank officials. El Mayo. So if that cartel kingpin was doing it, what makes you think that a man that never appeared on camera speaking, there's only pictures of him, audios of him. It looks like it was an image that it was created. El Mencho. Because we never saw him actually on videos. We never saw him actually giving out interviews like El Chapo. We never saw him being present in public areas. We have only seen pictures and audios of him. And now, due to the intelligence that it was provided by the United States government, we see what? We see a man in the picture that it was released and filtered that if you ask 75,000 applications of AI, they will tell you it is accurate. That is him. That is the only thing that we have. There is a body that is being safeguarded in the fiscal general, in the forensics, and also in the fiscal general of the republic. In that body, it is presumptively el Mencho. This is a cancer that has metastasized, that has infested not only men, children, schools, governments, cities, and states. We have accustomed ourselves to violence. We have accustomed ourselves to being normalized, to decapitation, dismembers, bodies, extraction, kidnappings. We see these acts of terror like normal. We see these acts of terrorism like that is not terrorism. It is a conjunction of an organized crime acting relentless. With the definition of terrorism, it is so simple to say. Why are we minimizing these crimes? And to a point that we always justify that is not terrorism. That is minimizing the lives that they have been lost. Of course, these are crimes against humanity. But at the end of the day, from here to China, from China to Thailand, and from Thailand to Alaska and the Antarctica, if you decapitate a man and if you dismember a body, it is terrorism. But why this word is not being used in Mexico? Because that would allow an intervention. So the left and all these people always use the justification, and they mix the language that terrorism cannot be used, that word, in Mexico, because we're allowing the Americans to come in. That is a conversation between you and me. It is not a conversation between a president and another president. Why can us not categorize it as terrorism? We have been normalized to violence. Normalized to understand that seeing a decapitated head, a narco banner, it is part of our normal lives in a daily day. Seeing another narco kingpin that it was eliminated and eradicated, oh, they took him out. Another one that has been extracted to the United States of America, oh, he was extracted. Why the Mexican government, it is not capable of holding their criminal narco leaders in their power and extracting all of the information? Because they can't be trusted. Because our level of corruption, it is so infiltrated, and it is a rotten root all the way through the 3 levels of government. And always they go to the United States. So the intelligence, is it in here? No, it's in the United States. That is the reason why we need collaboration. Because the United States has the extraction of evidence, the extraction of intelligence. And the collaboration has to happen because it's a bilateral problem. But why? The Mexican government is not capable of fixing their own problems. Why? That is a question that we need to answer now. Hopefully, it's a time for change. It's a time for us to say we can fix our problems. Thank you for the level of extraction of intelligence, but we can fix our problems. The educational level has to change. Our ideals have to change. The way that we are maneuvering and the way that we are interpreting our system of education to our youth has to change. The way of life of being a cartel leader, a sicario, that is not a way of life. We need to eliminate and eradicate that problem for it to be non-existent in our country ever again. A level of execution to a cartel leader was done by the federal government. The youth has to look at this as a heroic effort And we need to implement this idea as a heroic effort. So our youth will look up to say, I want to be a soldier. I don't want to be a sicario. I want to be that. And I want to protect my country. I want to demonstrate that I will die for my country and protect my country. Fight the bad guys. Put the good guys in government. Those ideals, it is all a fallacy. It is all a dream in our country. Can it be achieved? Whew, we got a long way to go. I just saw that in El Salvador with Nayib Bukele. Everybody criticizes him. Everybody attacks him, but nobody can similar do what he did. They attacked him. They criticize him. They say that he's a dictator. They say that he's this, but he has 90+% of approval in this country. What is going on? El Salvadorians, they don't care what you think. They care what they're going out at 9 o'clock at night, being safe with their families and not getting shot, not getting killed, not getting extortion, not getting kidnapped. They don't care what you're saying about his conspiracies. Oh, he touched this. He was in the wall and he touched it this way. He's in cahoots with this entity. He knows this guy. He knows. They don't care what you say. And plus, I don't care. Mexicans, we don't care. You don't live over here. You don't live in Latinoamérica. Tú no has vivido lo que hemos vivido. ¿Cómo te atreves a decirnos lo que tenemos que pensar y hacer? How dare you try to dictate how we feel, what we choose, what we should do if you don't even live here? If you have never experienced what we have experienced, who gives you the authority to tell us how to think, what to do, what to say? Who gives you that authority? Who gave you that authority? You don't live here now. And this is the reality. A problem can be fixed, yes. I was walking with in El Salvador with the Minister of Defense, Mr. Merino. And I was walking through the communities that they were taken over by the MS gang and MS-18. Relentless, ruthless terrorists. As I was walking with him, he was explaining to me a lot of things. In a way, I was jealous as a Mexican because every single minute that I was walking with this man, he was getting stopped by every single citizen on that road. People were getting out of their cars, taking pictures with him, saying, thank you. We're not getting extorted. We're not getting kidnapped. We're not getting killed. We're not getting robbed. And as he was walking through all the businesses in the middle of these blocks, he was saying to the business owners, hey, ¿cómo va el negocio? ¿Cómo va la venta? Hey, how's the business doing? How are the sales? We're not getting robbed, Merino. And I went to him and I said, how does that feel, man? How does that feel? We don't have that. People look up to public officials. People look up to governmental officials. People look up to men of law and order in El Salvador because they have done the job. They have eradicated the bad guys. The way that he did it, the way that he did it, the way that he accomplished it, I don't care. What I care, it is my safety, the security of the people, and the safety of the country. That is what we care. And in the process, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of bumps and a lot of obstacles. But at the end of the day, the safety of the citizens is first, and the human rights of the citizens, it is on top of a terrorist. It can be accomplished. He told me to get the bad guys, that was easy. To find the bad guys, that was easy. But you know what was the difficult part, Oscar? And I said, what was the difficult part, Mr. Merino? The difficult part was to win the trust in the heart of the people. That was the difficult part because nobody believed in us. Look what we're doing right now. Instead of praising this situation that just happened in our country, 25 soldiers and men from Mexico died on extracting this cartel leader. And instead of saying, God rest their soul, we are attacking. Look at this man, he told me, we had to win the trust. And when we won the trust of the citizens in the heart of the people, it was so easy. It was so easy. But for that process, we needed to show that we're not bought off. We needed to show that we were not corrupt. We needed to show that we were not lying to them. And we needed to show that it was a reality, what we were doing. And when we started showing that, guess what happened? Everything fell into place. It was so easy. My God, it was bam, bam, bam. So easy to fix it. When you do these kind of missions, and we lost good men, 25 good men, you're changing the mind of the citizen. And you're changing the mind and the hearts of the people. So now in my mind and in everybody else's mind, we're thinking, hey man, we no los podemos echar. No los podemos chingar. Hey man, we can accomplish this, man. We lost good people, but we can, le podemos dar. We can accomplish it. Let's trust them, man. This couldn't be accomplished, and let's say it like it is. It's not bootlicking of the white man. It's not, this is because of the white man and bootlicking of the American government. I can say the chingaderas. This is because of the enormous collaboration between the American intelligence and Mexico. And guess what? I didn't do it. I didn't assume that responsibility. That woman that is behind right there, that I don't trust her as a president, but that woman that is behind right there, she was the one that signed that agreement of collaboration on the Article 91 of the Constitution of Mexico. All the power that the Mexican president can exercise. She can collaborate with a foreign government. She's actually doing it under the Constitution. I didn't do it. She did it. And this is a collaboration between two governments to eliminate a problem. Is it going to be eliminated? Should we trust her? Should we continue to trust her? Should we start trusting her? No. El respeto no se da, se gana, señora. And that is a saying in the street. That is a saying in a store. That is a saying in whatever, in a soccer field. That is a saying in your home. They don't give you the respect. You earn it. Like Mr. Merino said. That is an example. The hard thing was to win the trust in the heart of the people. The responsibility, it is to win the heart and the trust of the people. That is the hard thing. It is not just to go and execute a mission, get all your paid bloggers and your paid influencers from your political party. We know that you have the capacity in the economy to do that. So start spreading all this information of what they say is what to need to be done and calling us vendepatrias and vendidos los gringos and all this kind of stuff and all these attacks, only dividing us more, but not achieving what we need to achieve with each other. It is not about a political party. It is not about Morena. It is not about PRI, and it is not about PAN. It is about that flag that is on the back, and it is about us that we were born en los Estados Unidos Mexicanos. in a Mexican country. On our birth certificate, it says Estados Unidos Mexicanos. Mexico. It doesn't say Morena. You were born in Morena country. It doesn't say you were born in PRI country. It doesn't say you were born in PAN country. It says you were born in los Estados Unidos Mexicanos. Usted nació en la República de México. Ahí usted nació. Ese es su país. You were born there in Mexico. You were not born in another kumbaya. That's the first thing that we need to understand. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining in. It is 1:11 in the evening. Nice to say hello to you guys. February 24, Tuesday. Be sure to be watching. Buy me a coffee. It is right there for people that want to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. It is right there in the page of YouTube. If you get out, if you want to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund, I will be traveling soon, so your support is much needed. And I will be going to a really difficult and dangerous place in the next incoming days. So your support is much needed, and it's well appreciated. Thank you so much. This was an update from my own perspective and from my own optic. And this is an update for all of you guys. We'll read some comment. I will block a few comments because they are disrespecting our people. So I'm not disrespecting no American citizen. So I don't understand why people are disrespecting us. If we're talking respectfully, I don't even know why. Somebody saying I can't get the coffee worked. If you get out of the page and then go directly to the link that is pinned, you will actually get it to work. Somebody saying thank you from Texas. Glad to see you, Oscar. I know you'll be reporting the truth. Thank you so much. Stay safe, Oscar, please. Thank you so much. So Tijuana Border Jumper. Oscar makes me proud to be Mexican. Eso, arriba los tacos. Esos saludos, mi hermano. Some people are just idiots, Oscar. Well, some people were just born without a brain. But let's just pray for them. Somebody saying safe travels. Thank you so much. Vamos a cambiar a México. Esa palabra es bonita. Vamos cambiando a México. Esa palabra es bonita. Oscar, you are the news. You're amazing. Please stay safe. God bless you. Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Saludos a todos. Where's it at? Los comentarios van rápido. Étale, no se vaya para allá. I'm thankful for your update. Stay safe. Muchas gracias. Como no? Thank you so much. Vamos para abajo. Thank you for this reporting. Tengo familia en México. Mi corazón está con todos. Eso, échale ganas. ¿Cómo no? Oaxaca has beautiful everything. Yeah, even the food is beautiful in Oaxaca. Arriba México, eso. Podemos tener el link for Buy Me a Coffee. Está arriba, mi hermano. Pegado. It's pinned on the chat all the way to the top. The Buy Me a Coffee link. Thank you so much. I'm an American of Puerto Rico descent and a combat veteran for 20 years of service. If Puerto Rican was being attacked, I will be the first to defend it with the USA. Semper 5, Santiago Nieves. Saludos, Dios te bendiga, mi hermano. Let me just see. Buen programa, soy del Salvador. Saludos a toda mi gente del Salvador. Un abrazo, allá andaba. comiendo pupusas. Por cierto, muchísimas gracias por esas bendiciones cuando me dejan entrar. God bless the people of El Salvador. You guys have the best president in the world. Appreciate listening to your updates. I know it's true, and I can hear the passion you have for your country. It's good. Well, it's not only for my country; it's to fix a problem. When I was reporting up the enormous influx of illegal immigration in the whole country, I was reporting on the inhuman crimes that I was encountering, and they were saying like, "Oh, you have a passion for, the things." I having a passion for the things that I was seeing, for the things that I was watching, for the things that I was experiencing as a human being, and seeing another human dying, drowning because they were pushed to migrate by a tyrannical government, open border policies by a government of the United States, a democratic government. So it was all designed, and innocent people were dying, thinking that that was the way to migrate, an inhuman way. My dad always wanted a Mexican superhero. He'd be happy to see you, Oscar. Hijo de la jodida. Qué bonito, mi hermano. Muchas gracias. Qué bonito comentario. Te lo agradezco de todo corazón. Oscar, just ignore the idiots. Always have. I always have. Nadia, Oscar, la victoria es nuestra. Amo mi patria. Saludos de Texas. Eso, saludos a todos mis tejanos. Saludos a toda mi gente de Texas. Another comment. I appreciate you. Thank you for giving us an accurate information. God bless you, Kathy Stores. Dios te bendiga, Oscar. ¿Cómo no, Pedro? Gracias, muchas gracias. Weren't you down there with Ben? Where at? The Giant Gap? Yes. He's right there. You see it? Right there. That picture is a reminder of all the things that we have done and the risks that we did together. Scriblue I've been following you since the picture behind you. That was the first time that we crossed the gap out of the 4. Saludos desde Los Ángeles, Oscar. Saludos a toda mi gente de LA. Saludos allá a la gente del 405, por Manchester, por Wilmington, por todas esas avenidas. Saludos a todos ustedes. Saludos. No te entendí la pregunta. I didn't understand your question. Why is your president saying there's not going to be a new narco war? Well, she believes that going to war with the cartel is not the solution, and I believe that is completely incorrect. What she did on this mission, she went to war with them. So it is completely, the contrast of opinions. It is always projecting so she can pander to an audience in a political party. If she does completely the opposite, it will go against everything that she believes and everything that she has said and everything that is for her audience or her political party. So she has to be having an agenda. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining in. It has been a pleasure being with you guys. Stay safe. And like we always say, God's plan, it is our mission. Be sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Be sure to follow our page on X. And be sure to like every single broadcast. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.